Yo, what up? What up? It's your man, Bad Boy, back to you with another episode of Ask a Bad Boy. That's right. Today, we're going to talk about hair. What I do, we're going to talk about this. Hair is what I do. So today, we're going to go over the best kept secrets to growing long, healthy hair fast. This is what this creator talked about. We're going to do a review on it, let you know what I think, what I agree with, what I don't agree with. Let's go.
You've been trying to grow your hair out forever, but it's still the exact same length and nothing you try ever works. You got the frequent trims, you bought the products, you even got that trendy magic hair growth thing that you saw on social media. So why didn't any of it work? Because none of those things actually grow your hair out. They're just trends that people are trying to get you to spend money on. Today, they're selling pills.
Now, starting out the gate, me and him agree on something. It's not about growing your hair. Now, if you have issues with balding, you have some scalp issues, you have hormonal issues, some things that's causing your hair not to grow, that's a different topic. But we're talking about growing hair. And as he said, these things actually do not help you grow your hair.
For hair growth, yesterday it was rice water, and before that it was caffeine in your shampoo to make.
Oh my God. I'm watching this in real time and I don't want to keep stopping, but oh my God. Did you hear the rice water thing? Rice water thing is crazy. I've had clients come to me. One of my clients came in and her hair is literally like a rock. I mean, like a rock. And I'm like, what did you do? She said, I use rice water, because it's something that she's seen online, on YouTube, TikTok, wherever she's seen it, she's seen rice water will help her hair. So she put the rice water on her hair. Now, from my understanding, not doing a lot of research in rice water, I do know that when you make rice, if you take that rice and let it sit out, when it locks up, it's hard as a brick because of the starch. So her hair felt that way. I'm not a fan of the rice water thing. Like I said, I didn't do a lot of research on the rice water, but I'm not a fan at all of the rice water.
Your hair grow. What if you could take a shortcut through all these scammy trend products and just go straight to real hair growth? Some stylists specialize in color or cuts, but my specialty is maintenance and growth of hair, so this is my thing. So I'm pumped to show you the exact same routine I use to get my clients long hair, because it's the fastest way to get it, and I'm not talking about just a few extra scraggles at the bottom. I'm talking about full, thick length. All right, so to get long hair, you have to understand the growth cycle of the individual hairs on your head. At the beginning of the cycle, it starts to grow. This is called the anagen phase.
The anagen phase is true. I have not one gripe with anything he's saying so far.
Hair cells are multiplying all up in your follicle.
But I must say, the wig is crazy.
Oh my God.
The wig is crazy work. I want views. I want to blow up as a YouTuber as well. But the wig thing, I can't put that wig on. Do you think I should put the wig on? Let me know in the comments if y'all think I should put the wig on like my man doing.
And your hair's growing out all over the place. But the important part here is that the length of this cycle is different for everyone. Some people's anagen phase lasts like 7 years. That means that every hair on their head has had 7 years to grow before it falls out. But other people might have a much shorter cycle, which is only like 3 years. So their hair only has 3 years to get long.
This is a fact. This is why I tell you guys to not worry about your friends, because I'll hear people tell me, I don't need my ends trimmed. My friend don't get her ends trimmed. My friend this, my friend that. You and your friend do not have the same genetic makeup. Genetics have a lot to do with this. So it's just like I say the same thing about food and weight loss. You might have someone who could literally eat a bagel and their stomach starts to rise. Some people, you know, could eat a whole pizza, whole cake, don't see no problems. Genetically, they're built different. So you have to do these things according to your situation.
The key here is that the longer you cycle, the more time your hair has to get and grow long. Anyway, the next phase is catagen. Your hair follicle starts to go dormant and shrinks, but it doesn't fall out yet. You have the telogen phase. This is where the hair actually falls out. This is the not so fun part. All right.
Right. These phases are very important. I talk about these things in my book. So make sure you get that ebook. We talk about these things in the ebook, and I go into these details as well, the same as he's doing right here. But we're just reviewing this video to tell you what I agree with and what I disagree with. Let's go.
So why does all this matter? Because at this point, when your hair growth resets and you start the cycle over again, you get a fresh growth phase to work with. And if your hair isn't growing as long as you want, it's probably because you're accidentally making mistakes in this phase, which costs you a ton of length. Why did I say length there instead of growth? Because during the anagen phase, your hair is always growing. It's not like there's this lever inside your head where it's like fast or slow. I'm going to say it again because this is super important when it comes to growing hair out. You have to realize that your hair is already growing. You don't need to focus on that. It's a waste.
Okay. What he just said there is really key. Now, your hair is always growing, but you must understand that typically you're going to get a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 an inch every 4 to 6 weeks. Let me repeat myself. A 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 an inch every 4 to 6 weeks. The longer your hair, it starts to slow down with retaining the length. But retention is what I'll talk about a little bit later. But I'm agreeing with everything so far.
One of my favorite clients who I helped get long hair was blonde, and she was constantly getting her roots touched up because she couldn't stand to have any dark roots shown against her blonde hair. She came in one day back when her hair was still short, and she was complaining about how she could never grow her hair out. No matter what she does, her hair never grows past her shoulders. So I pointed out to her that her hair actually is growing fast, and that's why she actually has to get her roots touched up all the time.
Oh my God. This is something I have actually went back and forth with clients about. Oh, speaking of, if you want to have a consultation, I'm doing one-on-one coaching. We got private calls, but if you want to get a free consultation, send me a message, comment. We're going to bring you up, but you have to get on cam. We're going to bring you up. We're going to go over your hair. We're going to talk about some of the things that you've been doing, some of the things that you aren't doing, and what you should be doing. But this particular thing right here is crazy because I talk about this with the clients all the time. If you're not growing bald, your hair is growing. If you get a relaxer, if you get color, I guarantee you in 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to have new growth. So your hair is growing. So stop saying your hair is not growing. What are you doing, or what's happening that's preventing you from retaining your length, the growth that you are experiencing?
Time because they're constantly growing out on her. And for a second, she just kind of stared at me, but then it clicked for her and she's like, oh yeah, if my roots are always growing out, then yeah, my hair is growing. But if it's growing so much, why isn't my hair getting long? The answer is because she was making some mistakes during the anagen phase, which is super common and luckily super easy to fix. For her, the problem was that as her hair grew, she would get it bleached and then not care for it properly. So all her new, fresh...
Another thing I always talk about, you notice he said bleached. When you color itself is not one of the main keys to breakage. A lot of people believe that when they get color, their hair is going to break off. This is not true. If you don't take care of your hair, it'll break off. But the color tends to dry the hair out, especially lightener. Dries the hair out, and the dryness is what causes breakage. That's why we need to add moisture. But this is something we'll talk about when this is over.
Fresh growth is immediately getting bleached, and bleach is the most damaging thing you could possibly do to your hair. Not heat styling.
I don't know if I agree with that about the most damaging thing you can do to your hair, because once again, dryness is causing the breakage. There's quite a few things you could do worse than that causes breakage. I mean, it's a number of things that you can do. Not adding moisture is the number one thing that you can do wrong that's going to cause breakage. But he also may have a different clientele race wise than I do. I do all, but the bulk of my clients are Black or African American, and we lack moisture. A lot of his clients may not lack moisture. So to him, this may be true, but for my clients, that dryness is one of the main keys to breakage.
Don't like you to know that. Anyway, after getting her hair bleached, she didn't have a proper hair routine, so she's exposing her hair to the elements all naked, and it's getting dried out and damaged. And dried out, damaged hair is super prone to breakage, and the longer the hair is on your head, the more damaged it gets and the more prone to breakage it's going to be. So you can see after a certain length, the hair just can't hold on. It's so damaged and it's lost all of its strength. It just breaks off. And that is what made it seem like her hair wasn't growing out. It would grow an inch up here, but that inch up here never got all the way down to the bottom because it would break off before it could get longer.
And this is what I always talk about. In order to prevent breakage, you must add moisture and keep your ends trimmed on a regular basis. Look at it this way. Both of my hands is one strand of your hair. As it grows out of the scalp, it naturally, especially from not keeping it moisturized, and it will do this. Start to grow, and as it grows, it starts to split. The longer you wait, snap, 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 and each individual strand snaps. This causes you to not be able to retain your length. So what I do with my clients is, as it grows out, we're going to trim, trim, trim. So constantly trimming on a regular basis, not a haircut. That's another conversation. But keeping your ends trimmed will prevent breakage. Let me let him go.
That's why getting frequent trims doesn't work. Magic growth pills.
Me and him, you see, he said that right after I said that. Me and him totally disagree on this. I just gave you an illustration. Keeping your ends trimmed prevents the breakage from working its way up the shaft.
Don't do anything to stop that breakage when your hair gets longer. They're completely useless. All right, so instead of trying really hard to get your hair to grow, which it's already doing, by the way, we're gonna focus on strengthening the hair. We're gonna get it so strong that we aren't gonna lose any length to breakage during this anagen phase. That way, your hair can grow out to its maximum potential, even if you weren't blessed with the genetics of having a really long anagen cycle. And an awesome side effect of this routine is that strong hair is also healthy hair. So it looks all shiny and perfect, and it's way easier to style. This stuff compounds so your hair keeps getting better and better, stronger and stronger, longer and longer. And believe it or not, I'm actually going to be growing my hair out starting in a month or two and showing you guys exactly how it's going along the way.
I wonder if he go wear that. He's not gonna have to wear that wig no more. Oh, this the look he going for right here?
To go for that Lord Uhtred look from The Last Kingdom. Uhtred, son of Uhtred. And what I'm about to show you right now is the exact same hair growth routine that I'm gonna use, so you can use it too and grow your hair out with me. All right.
Okay, so PSA. I like the way he going all out for this. But me, I got 360s, as you all know. I'm not going bald at all, but I'm not growing my hair out to that length. I had this thought one time. My brother told me I would look like Eddie Murphy in Vampire in Brooklyn.
No.
Nah, I can't do the long hair. I tried it. It ain't for me. It ain't for me.
All right, step one, we're gonna use a mask once a week. If you're not really familiar with masks, they're basically super conditioners. Conditioners are more on the superficial side. They get the outside layer of your hair looking nice and good, but masks are much stronger and add moisture to the inside of your hair.
Okay, he rocking now. He cooking down. I'm on the same thing. Always talk about this. Is why I talk about my product, Strand Secrets. I talk about the M1, which is a moisturizer. Adding moisture. Okay, anything that you add to your hair that has lanolins, petroleum, or animal fat, that only is going to coat your hair, it cannot give you true moisture. Once again, lanolins, petroleum, and animal fats. Anything that's going to coat your hair is not going to give you moisture. In order to get true moisture, you must penetrate the cuticle layer, which is your top layer, and this is going to give you moisture, which entails will help you retain your length. So when he talk about strengthening the hair and getting moisture from the inside, that's when we're talking now.
Which is really important. Really good way to keep your hair strong and healthy during the beginning of the anagen phase. Next up, I know some people are going to be upset with this, but we are not getting a trim for at least 6 months.
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap. This is cap to me. We can debate this all day. I gave you my illustration earlier. As the hair grow, it starts to split. It starts to split. I'll give you one example. Think about people that get dreads. Okay. You ever notice how long their hair gets? The dreads grow down their back. Some people dreads get so long, they start to go bald in the top and the dreads are still hanging down. And the reason this is because those ends, when they're not getting them trimmed, these ends, they lock up. What they call dread locks. They lock up and they continue to grow. And they don't break off because they have nowhere to go because the ends are locked. This is where him and I disagree. Respectfully, we disagree on this one. Get your ends trimmed every 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes we push to 8 weeks. Some of my people you see with their hair all the way down to their butt, I push them back to 8 weeks because over time your hair starts to, it's going to get so long to the point where then we do need to slow down on our trims because the hair is retaining that length that we're looking for. So respectfully, I disagree with him on this one.
These are the exact opposite of hair growth. In the 80s, they came up with this idea that cutting hair actually made it grow faster. And a lot of stylists just still repeat the same thing today, even though it's not true.
I agree. It's not a haircut. I'm not preaching a haircut thing. I said trim to prevent it from working up the shaft. But he's right. A lot of stylists do believe that if you cut the hair, it makes it grow faster. This is not true. You're getting growth from within. So you can't speed up the growth because you got a haircut.
The real way to grow your hair past that limit is to stop cutting it and improve routine to make your hair stronger so it can grow way longer before it starts to break off. And speaking of that, let's talk about the second product you're going to add to your routine, which is hair oil. What hair oil does is it forms a barrier around the outside of your hair to keep everything nice and hydrated. It's going to polish up all the rough edges.
This is why I recommend my SOS oil. SOS stands for Save Our Strands. The SOS oil, some of my people live by it. You don't need a lot. It has black Jamaican castor oil, niacin, biotin. It's an amazing blend of oil. So I agree with him on this one. But if your hair tends to hold oil, you have to be really careful on how much oil you're using. You only need a very small amount of oil.
Make your hair nice and shiny. We're going to use this every single day, constantly putting a new barrier on your hair to protect it from drying out and getting weak. But
I don't recommend everybody do it every day. It depends on your texture. The thickness and dryness of your hair would depend on how much oil you're going to use. I would never recommend anybody use oil every day, but that's respectfully.
We're not going to put that hair oil all over. We're going to focus on our ends because they are the weakest, oldest part of your hair.
Okay, so if you're doing that, I'm in agreement. Just the ends, the weakest part of your hair. You're not going to put this oil throughout your hair. A lot of people make that mistake. Now you're just going to make your hair oily like a cat been licking in it.
That means they've taken the most damage because they've been on your head so long and they need a lot of help to stay healthy and strong. And you may not have thought about it like this, but your ends are also delicate because where you trim them, you left an open hole on the end. There's no getting around that, but that hole makes the hair really exposed. Dry ends split, crack, and turn to dust. So every time you wash your hair at the end of your after shower hair routine, when you're done styling and putting products in it, you're gonna take some hair oil and run it over your ends. And then on days that it's not wash day, you're still gonna use this in the morning to polish and seal up your ends, keeps them nice and healthy. So again, they don't break off and you don't lose length. All right, next up, you're going to do no heat styling for the first 2 weeks.
This dude with this wig on is crazy work. Crazy work. I love it. The no heat thing is another podcast because you and these protective styles, some of you not putting any heat in your hair. Don't get me wrong, not putting heat in your hair does help because we want to prevent any damage to the hair, heat damage, as you say, and things of that nature. So this one here is a little gray area for me about the 2-week game, but we're going to hear him out.
Of this. We're trying to load a bunch of moisture into your hair with the mask and allow all that moisture to build up so we have a great base and starting point. After those first 2 weeks, then you can start heat styling again. But remember to always use a heat protectant and make sure to give your hair 3 days rest before you hit it with heat again. All right, so oil is taking care of our ends and mids, but as the hair grows out, we need a way to protect the roots in the mids. Now, they aren't as delicate as your ends because they're newer growth. They haven't been around as long, but if you leave them exposed, they're going to dry out on you. And that makes them vulnerable to damage and breakage, which we definitely don't want because if your roots or mids snap, you lose everything below it. So to make sure that never happens, leave-in conditioner. This is water-based, so it's really light in your hair. And
okay, so M2, water-based, water-soluble. It's a leave-in reconstructor. So he's on the money with this one. Leave-in is going to really help you, but you got to make sure it's the right leave-in. No lanolins, petroleum, or animal fat. And this is going to be perfect for the M2 by Strand Secrets. So I'm going to give my synopsis on this thing. I agree with everything. Well, a couple things we didn't agree on. We can agree to disagree, but respectfully, I like my man's content. I'm going to put the content creator in my information. I also want to say that in closing, keep in mind, all of these things are in my ebook and I go into detail even more, but with lack of keeping your ends trimmed on a regular basis and a lack of moisture, dryness is one of the main keys to breakage. Think of it in this way. If you take one second here. If you take, hold on 1 second. Okay, if we take an orange peel, you take an orange, when the orange has the peel on it, it's moist. If you take it and peel it, it peels right off. But if you take that same orange peel and leave it in the sun, it'll crumble like a potato chip. That's what happens to your hair when you keep it dry. So let's keep in mind, keeping our ends trimmed every 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to do moisture. So make sure, follow me on all social medias, comment, like, subscribe. I also want you to comment if you want to get a consultation. We're doing one-on-one coaching. If you want to cam up, you can cam up for free coaching. Just comment, leave it in the comments. You can comment the word hair and we'll get you on. We'll bring you up and we'll get you going. Like I always say, if you want to know, ask a bad boy. Let's go.